Hi, and welcome to my video of riding up and down Box Hill one sunny Saturday afternoon in April. We were passing by Box Hill visiting some relatives, so this was a great opportunity to ride the infamous Box Hill. I have ridden it before, both as a personal visit and I've also ridden it on one of the Ride London events. When we passed by at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the car park at the foot was absolutely full of motorcyclists, so we actually climbed it about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The video is actually playing at 2 times speed. I'm afraid I'm nothing like as strong a cyclist as the video might suggest. Although I've climbed it several times, I still get caught out by this first section up to the first hairpin. It doesn't look very steep, but actually it's quite tiring and can be quite difficult to get into a good rhythm, even though it's not the steepest part of the climb. The first zigzag is just ahead. We saw that van come round it, and then you do see Box Hill in all its splendour. In front there, the road is above us, on the top of that grassy expanse, and now we're climbing from the first hairpin up to the second. There's a few bits of chalk that sometimes fall onto the road, and you do have to be careful, and these speed bumps are a lot more aggressive than they look, particularly when you're coming downhill. Given the lateness of the time, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it was nothing like as hot as it had been earlier in the day, and I was quite grateful for the cooler temperatures. We're now approaching the second hairpin just ahead. There's another speed bump just before the bend, which is more for the cars, and I nearly got taken out by those 2 youths on their mountain bikes. There's this last little bit of tree cover before we pull out into the open expanse on the hill. It's this stretch here where we start to see some of the road painting that was put in during the Olympic event to celebrate the fact that it was such an event for the area. Saw the cyclist ahead. It was a bit of a target to go for, so I did try harder than I was going to. He wasn't going nearly as fast as I'd expected because I caught him very easily. Again, I'm not that strong a cyclist, and it's certainly not that I'm racing up at some fantastic speed. We started to see more people sitting on the side. Motorbikes have stopped and some cars as well to take photographs. Although this isn't the top, there's still a good view to our right across Surrey. Not very far ahead is the last bend. It's not a hairpin, it's just a 90-degree bend in this particular case. It's then followed by a short left-hand bend, and then it opens out to the top of Box Hill. Here's the bend ahead, and another speed bump just before the corner, and there's another speed bump just after the corner as well. I think these are mainly for motorcyclists rather than cars or cyclists. We swing round to the left here, and in reality we are at the top. We start to see a bit of gate, and there's some buildings ahead that are starting to be part of the National Trust buildings and property that feature at the top. There's a lot of car parking to the left. It is a very popular place, and we've been before and struggled to park. It's taken me about 9.5 minutes from the foot of the climb to get to this point here, so not a particularly impressive time. I turned around and took some photos at the top, and now I'm heading back down again. Again, there's the short flat piece, at the top with the car parks now to our right and some of the National Trust buildings to our left there. There's still numerous speed bumps all the way down, and they are a significantly bigger obstacle on the descent than on the climb. Although the speed bumps don't look particularly big, and they're certainly not a problem climbing the hill, on the descent the speeds are much greater. This one here caught me out quite badly on the first descent because I couldn't see it properly in the shadow of the trees. I got a bit of a speed wobble on and nearly fell off if I was honest. We're now descending the longest straight part of Box Hill from that top corner all the way down to the middle hairpin. Again, there are lots of people on the side of the road and some of them were ambling across, so at that speed you do have to be careful to make sure they don't step out in front of you. When you're going up, the hairpins aren't particularly steep at all. This hairpin ahead is actually really very sharp, particularly in the speed that you approach it. Even though this was the second attempt within a short period of time, I got the speed and angle all wrong and lost a lot of speed on that descent. Again, this second straight, it's very fast. I know though that the approach to the second hairpin is much more gentle and you can start braking about here. The road surface is pretty good, so if you know there's no traffic, you can afford to take the line fairly tightly inside. And the bit that I was complaining about on the way up, saying it was steeper than I thought, it does give you some benefit on the descent down, and I was certainly running at over 30 miles an hour down this piece of road. So, that is Box Hill. Certainly not an alpine climb, but it is good fun and absolutely brilliant to ride.